Hello, Patriots. Welcome to the Ryan Samuel Show. It is that time. We are here and we are live. Every episode is live. Real reactions, real responses, real time. Nothing's rehearsed. We just kind of do it the way that we do it. So welcome to the show. If it's your first time here, make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Tap the download button on the podcast. Make sure you go to ryanfsamuels.com/shop. Check out the merchandise. We got some cool stuff for some really good prices. Use promo code Samuels to get your 10% off of anything that you want. But most importantly, guys, share the podcast with a friend. We are still booming. We are growing. We're doing a really good job. So we want to keep that. And I want to thank each and every one of you. When I first started this, I never thought that anybody would ever listen. And now we have like tens of thousands of downloads and millions of viewers every month. So thank you so much. But today, there has been a scandal that sounds like it's something out of a 70s or 90s mafia movie. The NBA players and coaches have been busted for fixing and rigging games on behalf of the mafia, the actual mob. Now, I thought the mob was just kind of gone and dead, but apparently not. They are still very much in action and working. So we're going to cover that. We got videos of players that are intentionally throwing games. We have clips of that. We're going to go over that. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Hey, Ryan. Hi, this is Sarah Palin.
Ryan, Donald Trump Jr.
Hogs to win, see you. Hey, everybody, I want y'all to check out a fellow Marines podcast.
My name is Ted Nugent, and I got a call from my buddy Ryan F. Samuels, and he wants me to tell you that he's a working hard, playing all-American son of a who is celebrating God, family, country.
Welcome to the Ryan Samuel Show, one of the top political podcasts in the United States, where we have a healthy distrust for government and mainstream media. The Ryan Samuel Show is a raw, unfiltered look at American politics. Follow on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Rumble, and all podcast platforms. Here is your host, Ryan Samuels.
All right, so here's Kash Patel, who made this announcement today. Now, I didn't really see any heads up on this. I didn't really see any indictments or even people under suspicion or like. So, but I'm not really somebody who follows sports. I'm not a huge sports person. I prefer to spend my time with other things, which is fine. It's not for everybody. But the FBI has done like a really good job with this. Apparently, we're going to cover it. Kash Patel made the announcement. This is what he made today in New York City. Let's listen to this.
To announce a historic arrest across a wide-sweeping criminal enterprise that envelops both the NBA and La Casa Nostra. The men and women up here standing with me represent a small portion of the leadership team that brought profound justice in an era that needed it more than any. I'll just highlight some of the details in the case and the FBI work, and then you'll hear from the others. But as you now know, individuals such as Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier were taken into custody today, former, current NBA players and coaches. What you don't know is that this is an illegal gambling operation and sports rigging operation that spanned the course of years. The FBI led a coordinated takedown across 11 states to arrest over 30 individuals today responsible for this case, which is very much ongoing. Not only did we crack into the fraud that these perpetrators committed on the grand stage of the NBA, but we also entered and executed a system of justice against La Casa Nostra to include the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese crime families. And you'll hear more about those details today. The charges and the arrests that were taken down across this country range from wire fraud, money laundering, extortion, robbery, illegal gambling. This FBI will leave no room for any perpetrator of crime across this country. You hear a lot about our work of defending the homeland and crushing violent crime. Well, this work is also representative of a colossal portion of the FBI's mandate to keep America safe and to keep our entertainment industry fair and secure.
People are going to get whacked. I mean, that's what's going to happen. So the members of the mob who are terrified that somebody is going to flip or somebody's going to talk and that all of these people are going to get in trouble, somebody's going to get whacked. Okay. And you know, that's the life that you chose. You chose to be a part of that life. Good for you. You kind of reap what you sow. But the mafia has been doing this kind of stuff for years. Rigging games, bookmaking, gambling. That's kind of what they do, right? They get a young college kid who is a basketball player, then he kind of comes to them, he borrows money, and then they kind of got him and they own him, and they say, listen, you know, you owe us $10,000, right? So instead of giving us $10,000, we just don't want you to try so hard against this team on this date. We're not telling you to throw the game. We're just asking you to maybe not score as many points. And that then we'll forgive your debt. And then the mob makes, you know, $500,000 off of that from betting. So this is something that's been going on since the 60s and 70s from the mob. Nothing new. What's different is that now that the NBA is like fully enthralled in this. Famous NBA players like Chauncey Billups. This is just a handful that come out now. So now the next thing that's going to happen is people are going to start talking. Chauncey's going to start talking about people that who else may be involved, referees that may be involved. We don't know how deep this rabbit hole goes, but we're going to see. So here is the Fox News alert on this.
18 past the hour now, and some breaking news on this story in the NBA. Watch this now. It's still developing. It's our understanding that there are arrests being made actively as we speak. This is rocking the league. The FBI arresting a coach in Portland, as well as current and former players. We expect to learn more 40 minutes from now with a news conference from the FBI. Nate Foy's live in Brooklyn, where that news conference will take place. And Nate, good morning to you. What do we know so far? Hello.
Hey, Bill, good morning. Yeah, all eyes will be on that news conference at the top of the hour, as right now we're learning at least 31 people with sports ties and mafia ties so far have been arrested as part of an FBI investigation into illegal sports betting in the NBA and also an illegal poker scheme. Now, the big name coach and player, Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups, as well as a lesser-known player and coach, Damon Jones, so far the three names that we know, but we'll start with Rozier. This comes after an investigation was reported by the Wall Street Journal into him, a federal investigation back in January that looked into a game back when he played for the Charlotte Hornets in 2023, where there was strange betting patterns that emerged in a game where he left early, Bill, after playing only 10 minutes with a foot injury, and there were a lot of bets on the under for his points, rebounds, and assists. So that has been reported in the investigation into Rozier. We'll learn more at 10 o'clock about the details with him. Chauncey Billups is a bit of a different case at this point, Bill. From our information, he is allegedly involved in a poker scheme with the American-Italian Mafia. And then Damon Jones is a former NBA player and coach as well, arrested. And this is all related to the same investigation that ultimately landed a lifetime ban for Jontay Porter, a former player for the Toronto Raptors, who admitted to altering his performance in games so that other people could make money off of prop bets for his performance in those games. Now, the NBA investigated Rozier, and he was cleared as part of the NBA investigation, which explains why yesterday he...
No surprise he was cleared in the NBA investigation. I mean, how many people were involved? I mean, how many people are involved? How are you intentionally throwing basketball games as an NBA player and not, like, nobody's suspicious?
He was active for the Heat's game against the Orlando Magic. He did not play because of a coach's decision, but the federal investigation has been ongoing in the background, and we are certainly expecting, and sports fans everywhere who are concerned about the integrity of the game are really looking forward to this news conference to learn everything that we can. The NBA Commissioner Adam Silver certainly has quite a mess here on his hands, but FBI Director Kash Patel and Joe Nacella, the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, will be leading this news conference at 10, and we'll bring it here live, Bill. We'll send it back to you.
All right, Nate.
You're making millions of dollars for your, like, you're living the dream of like half of the children in the United States of America, or half of the kids in the world, or a quarter of the kids in the world. Not everybody likes basketball. And you throw it all away. Like, you're already making millions and millions of dollars. Why are you getting involved in this? And I don't like the NBA. I don't like most professional sports. I really can't stand professional sports. I can't stand football. I can't stand the NFL, like kneeling for the flag. Like, I see all of these great American patriots, like hardcore, awesome Republicans, walking around with like their Miami Dolphins jersey on or their New England Patriots. And it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, why are you spending $200-$300 on that jersey? Like, the NFL literally despises you and cannot stand you. 90% of their players despise you and cannot stand you. Why would you sit and watch a child's game and support people who hate you and kneel when the American flag comes on? You know, and they're getting paid millions of dollars just to be arrogant idiots. I don't like sports, particularly for that reason. But here is the New York FBI Assistant Director, Christopher, I don't know how to say his last name, but he's talking about the Trailblazers head coach, Chauncey Billups, and his connections to the mafia. So Chauncey must have gotten mixed up with the mob somehow, and it's easy to do, right? So I grew up in New York. I was around them, never got involved. That's really all I'm going to talk about. They're not really bad people, to be honest. They are they're business people, but they can do bad things if you get in a bad position, and it looks like this is what Chauncey did. So let's listen to what the assistant FBI director has to say. Hey, Kat, welcome on.
3 of the named defendants are charged for their alleged roles in both schemes. This alleged illegal gambling operation hustled unwitting victims out of tens of millions of dollars and created a financial pipeline for La Cosa Nostra to help fund and facilitate their organized criminal activity. Victims were attracted to play alongside well-known professional athletes and coaches like Chauncey Billups, only to be unknowingly deceived through rigged shuffling machines, fixing the odds in their favor, as alleged and as you just heard from the U.S. Attorney's Office. This alleged scheme wreaked havoc across the nation, exploiting the notoriety of some and the wallets of many to fund the Italian crime families here in New York. 3 of the named defendants.
Like I said, at this point, the mob, they're going to start tying up loose ends here. People are going to get whacked. But apparently Chauncey Billups was used to lure people in as this celebrity person. Then you would come in and you would gamble, but the whole thing was rigged, right? You're not supposed to be gambling anyway. Gambling, I don't really like to gamble, but you're not supposed to be gambling anyway. People are going there to gamble, and then they're getting ripped off because the shuffling machines are placing the odds. The house is going to win 99% of the time, but apparently all the games were rigged at this place by the mob, and Chauncey Billups was in on it and was making millions of dollars off of it. I don't, like I said, you're already a multimillionaire. I don't know why you would need more money. I mean, it's stupid. It's just stupid. Here is the New York Police Commissioner. Let's hear what she has to say. She's kind of a clown.
Instances, players altered their performance or took themselves out of games to make sure that those bets paid out. One example occurred on March 23rd, 2023 in Charlotte. Terry Rozier, an NBA player now with the Miami Heat, but at the time playing for the Hornets, allegedly let others close to him know that he planned to leave the game early with a supposed injury. Using that information, members of the group placed more than $200,000 in wagers on his under statistics. Rozier exited the game after just 9 minutes, and those bets paid out, generating tens of thousands of dollars in profit. The proceeds were later delivered to his home, where the group counted their cash. As the NBA season tips off, his career is already benched, not for injury, but for integrity. As a result of this investigation, 6 defendants, including Rozier, are now facing conspiracy to commit bank and wire fraud.
So he basically called out of a game early so that people could make bets and make a ton of money off of them. Again, you throw your whole life away for greed. Hey, Michelle. Michelle says, good evening. Had a long week with the grandkids. Well, I hope you enjoyed your grandsons this week, Michelle. Thanks for being here. It's always wonderful to see you. Here is another Fox News clip. Let's check this out.
Fraudulent bets, mostly in the form of prop bets on individual player performance. The bets were placed through online sports books and also in person at casinos. The defendants relied on a network of straw bettors to place the maximum amount of bets to increase their potential profits. Most of these bets succeeded, and the intended losses were in the millions of dollars. The defendants then laundered their illegal winnings in various ways: peer-to-peer platforms, bank wires, and simple cash exchanges. The indictment details specific examples where the defendants profited from illegal gambling and illegal betting on various NBA games about the performance of players on, among other things, the Charlotte Hornets, the Portland Trail Blazers, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Toronto Rangers. Each defendant in the NBA basketball gambling case has been charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering. Now, I would like to turn to the other case, United States versus Aiello, the rigged poker game case.
So that's important to know, is that these are two different cases. The one case is players intentionally throwing the game. The other case is the Chauncey Billups gambling scandal where they were rigging games and luring innocent people in.
Beginning as early as 2019, the defendants in this case orchestrated a scheme to use wireless cheating technology to run rigged poker games across the United States, including in the Hamptons, Las Vegas, Miami, and Manhattan. The scheme targeted victims known as, quote, fish, who were often lured to participate in these rigged games by the chance to play alongside former professional athletes who were known as, quote, face cards. The so-called face cards included the defendant Chauncey Billups, who at the time of the scheme was a former NBA player and is currently the head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, and also Damon Jones, a former NBA player and coach. What the victims, the fish, didn't know is that everybody else at the poker game, from the dealer to the players, including the face cards, were in on the scam. Once the game was underway, the defendants fleeced the victims out of tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars per game. The defendants used a variety of very sophisticated cheating technologies, some of which were provided by other defendants in exchange for a share of the profits from the scheme. For example, they used off-the-shelf shuffling machines that had been secretly altered in order to read the cards in the deck, predict which player at the table had the best poker hand, and relay that information to an off-site operator.
What's insane is that you would do this and have to cheat. Like casinos, gambling operations are just money printing machines. Like the house always wins. Like you don't have to cheat to make a ton of money. Like it's insane that you would even do this. It's insane.
The off-site operator sent the information via cell phone back to a co-conspirator at the table, and that person at the table was known as the quarterback. The quarterback then signaled secretly the information he had received from others to others at the table, and together they used that information in order to win their games and to cheat the victims. Defendants used other cheating technologies such as poker chip tray analyzers, which is a poker chip tray that secretly reads cards using a hidden camera, special contact lenses or eyeglasses that could read pre-marked cards, and an X-ray table that could read cards face down.
So in order to figure this all out, somebody's talking. Somebody inside of this ring is talking and talking about how much everything that they're doing. The FBI didn't just figure this out on their own, unless they got some undercover agent in there who became part of the scheme. That's the only thing I can think of. Or they flip somebody and they have an asset.
On the table. What you see depicted on screen right now is an example of the X-ray table that reveals the cards. Although they are face down on the table, they can be read because of the X-ray technology. The Mafia, specifically members and associates of the Bonanno, Gambino, and Genovese organized crime families, had pre-existing control over non-rigged, illegal poker games around New York City.
See how it says non-rigged? Because the mob realizes you don't really have to rig it. And if you get caught rigging it, people don't come back. So people come back because they get the dopamine dump of, oh, I won that hand and I won, $500. Then they go back in chasing that dopamine dump and they lose it all again. So the mob is smart. So I don't know why these guys, I don't get it.
As a result, they also became involved in the rigged poker games, helping to organize the games and taking a cut of the proceedings, and working to enforce the collection of debts. The defendants laundered their proceeds.
See, that's where the mob comes in. They're the police department for wise guys. If you owe somebody money, you sell the debt to a mob guy, he's going to collect it. And it doesn't matter what he needs to do. That's exactly what's going to happen. He's going to get his money. So that's where they come in to collect the money, is what I would assume. And yeah, they provide a little bit of a protection, because if you're running an illegal gambling operation where you're ripping people off and the Russian mob wants to come in and just take it over, if you got protection and you're paying the Italians, they're going to protect you because they got an interest. They're getting a percentage and nobody's going to mess with you.
Including through cash exchanges, the use of multiple shell companies, and through cryptocurrency transfers. As part of the scheme, some of the defendants and their co-conspirators also committed acts of violence, including the gunpoint robbery of a person in order to obtain a rigged shuffling machine, and extortions that were perpetrated against victims in order to ensure that they repaid their gambling debts. Defendants who participated in the rigged poker scheme are charged with wire fraud conspiracy. Other defendants have been charged with crimes including illegal gambling, money laundering, Hobbs Act robbery, and extortions. This case demonstrates our office's unrelenting commitment to fighting the scourge of organized crime in whatever form it takes. I'd like to conclude my remarks by thanking the incredible hard work of our law enforcement partners, including the FBI, Homeland Security, the NYPD, and the Waterfront Commission.
I want to know how they got all that information. Unless somebody who was like regularly visiting made a complaint. I mean, imagine that. Imagine going to an illegal gambling ring and then complaining that you kept losing to the FBI. Or somebody the mob collected on or whatever. But so here are some videos that are going around. I guess this is this is Terry Rozier or Rozier, which appears to him like intentionally messing up a pass in one of his games.
And the meter's still running, Richard. Still going.
Yeah, like come on, man. There's no way you didn't do that. Like this is the stuff he got caught doing. Intentional throwaways.
Rozier turned it over again. Having a tough night. And Rozier off the DHO. And he turned it over. Turn it up. But you don't want to play with your team, especially against the Miami Heat. I can tell you, hey, you don't like playing in Miami? Yeah.
There's air balls.
They got to get busy. Rozier with a 9-1-1 comes up short. On Merrill. Rozier, a contested three is short.
So I like. Now I don't know if all of these are intentional throws, but this is just a mashup.
Rozier on the show and go. That all year. Empty corner two-man game. Rozier with a three. Anderson with a rebound. Rozier relocates for another try. Boy, that was awfully short. Meter.
I mean, it all appears to be that way. It appears that, I mean, he did get caught intentionally throwing games, so that's where we are at. I just couldn't imagine throwing your whole freaking life away, your childhood dream, when you're making millions of dollars for no reason whatsoever. It's just stupid. But of course, we had to have Stephen Smith, who is the NBA. He's a commentator on ESPN. He had to come out because he's a super liberal idiot. And this isn't these gentlemen's fault. It's not the mob or anybody like that. It is Donald Trump's fault. Let's watch this.
How many times, for one incident after another, have I said Trump is coming?
Trump's coming for the NBA. Okay.
He's coming. I'm going to say it on national television again. Bad Bunny is performing at the Super Bowl, and all of a sudden you hearing ICE is going to be there, looking to engage in mass deportations. The Super Bowl, disrupting things. Big night for the NBA. Wembanyama put on a show. That has now been smeared because we're talking about this story. Okay?
But Trump didn't make any of this up there, Stephen.
Remember, Trump has a long, long history connected to the world of sports because he had those casinos. Where do you think folks were coming half the time? I'm not talking about individuals. I'm talking about the culture. When people want to go to a casino, when people want to gamble, when people want to party, or whatever the case may be. This was his kind of connection to that. Why am I glad you're here, Monica? Because don't be surprised if the WNBA is next on his list. Because when you've got all of these protests that have been going out there and people that have been protesting against him and what have you, this man is coming. He's coming. And I've been saying it for a long time.
This is Donald Trump's fault. The fact that Chauncey Billups ran an illegal and gambling ring and scammed people out of tens of millions of dollars is Donald Trump's fault. That's Donald Trump's fault.
To me, this is the latest nugget of evidence that we're talking about right here. That's not to question the legitimacy of the case. We don't know. We're all sitting up here and we're saying that we don't know. But anybody that has been around him, Anybody that has talked to him, anybody that has seen his reactions from the sports leagues and the positions that people have taken, they are not surprised at what's going on today. I'm watching a press conference with the director of the FBI. Tell me when we've seen that. We've seen people, we've seen accusations before. We've seen athletes get in trouble with the law before. You don't see the director of the FBI having a press conference.
You do when it's a massive bust that includes the mafia. When it's a high-profile case, that's exactly what you see. Of course the director of the FBI is going to give a speech. They do that in all high-profile busts. They don't do it in every bust, but they do it in very high ones. This is a very high-profile, shocking news that that's going to be all over the media. Of course, the head of the FBI is going to speak about it. Of course, he is.
It's not coincidental. It's not an accident. It's a statement, and it's a warning that more is coming. And that's what they're saying here. And everybody better. I'm just telling you, it's as serious as it gets. This ain't the platform for me to get into it the way I'm going to get into it. But I've been saying he's coming. He's coming because in his eyes, folks try to throw him in jail. In his eyes, he's innocent. They try to put me behind bars. I'm getting everybody. He's not playing. And so this, in a lot of people's eyes, talk to people in the NBA, talk to people in the NFL, talk to people in the world of sports. They think this is like the tip of the iceberg. These are the kind of words that are coming out of people's mouths. It's not a surprise. It's very disheartening. It's very concerning. We don't know where this is going to go, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. Everybody's better brace themselves because he's coming.
These people see Donald Trump under their pillows at night. It doesn't even make any sense. But the great news is Kash Patel went on Fox News and shot right back at Stephen Smith. Watch this.
Yeah, down the street. By the way, this was so wild. Stephen A. Smith, the sports commentator, suggested that this was revenge from the president for all the kind of left-wing activism of the NBA. Your response to that, 15 seconds.
I'm the FBI director. I decide which arrests to conduct and which not to conduct. That may be the single dumbest thing I've ever heard out of anyone in modern history, and I live most of my time in Washington, D.C. It's right up there with Adam Schiff. We arrest people for crimes.
Yeah, down the street.
Yeah. But they will do anything to blame Trump. Like, that is insane. Like, I don't think Chauncey Billups did anything, or like, he's not been like a name that's been thrown around to Donald Trump. But it just goes to show you how logical these freaking left-wing lunatics are. Here is this is a clip from ESPN discussing the gambling probe. Let's look at this.
So take me, I guess, through. Here's what happened. Here's what they're accused of.
So let's start with Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier, the two active members of the NBA. And Chauncey Billups was coaching a game in Portland last night against the Timberwolves season opener in Portland. Terry Rozier was on the bench in Orlando for the Heat's season opener there. And then within hours this morning at 6 a.m. local time in both areas, in Portland, Oregon, and in Orlando, Florida, both were arrested, met in an Orlando hotel in Rozier's case, and in Chauncey Billups' home in Portland. They were both arrested. Two different cases, though, here. One is essentially a mafia-led situation that Chauncey Billups is a part of, where he's accused of being a member. They called it a face card at these illegal poker fixing situations, events happening all over the country, in New York, in Vegas, in Los Angeles. And then Terry Rozier. This is the situation. The origin story here is with Jontay Porter. Over the last couple of years, where there were 5 co-conspirators, defendants from that Jontay Porter case, that has now stretched to Terry Rozier as far as sports gambling. involving himself with giving allegedly insider information to co-conspirators and bettors that were then able to use thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to bet on information that he gave out. Of course, this has led to seismic reverberations across the NBA. You have now at least 2 NBA careers put into peril with Chauncey Billups as the head coach.
There's going to be a lot more. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. Before we go any further, guys, make sure you're hitting that like, share, and subscribe button. Share this podcast if you enjoy it. Follow on YouTube, follow on Facebook, follow on Twitter, Rumble, wherever you're at. And make sure you visit ryanfsamuels.com/shop.
And Terry Rozier as an active player. Chauncey Billups just got an extension last summer. Terry Rozier's under contract for $26 million. And so this has massive ramifications for both teams, both players, and a situation that now the league is going to have to deal with. And then Damon Jones is another factor here among all of it. He was allegedly taking money for information that he was giving, including one ESPN has confirmed that in the 2022-23 season, he gave co-conspirators information about LeBron James sitting in a game against the Milwaukee Bucks with an ankle injury. That game, the bettors ended up putting money on Milwaukee, and it led to a Bucks victory once LeBron James obviously was sitting out. That was not public information at the time. So Damon Jones is the only member out of Rozier and Chauncey Billups that has been charged under both fronts. The mafia side of this with the illegal poker fixing, as well as the sports betting and the prop betting of all of this. So it's ongoing situation right now. Both Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups today were arraigned in Portland and in Orlando, respectively. They've both been released or are going to be released on bail this afternoon. Both will forfeit their passport. Rozier will also put a $6 million home up as collateral in this, and Chauncey Billups and Rozier not able to travel either unless it's to New York for their upcoming trial. That is where it stands right now. Damon Jones also arraigned as well today. But there's going to be more from this because, again, this started as a group of about a handful of co-conspirators. Now it's well over 30 arrests in total after today's round.
30 people arrested. They're talking about some big names coming that are about to come out too.
Of 31 arrests. And the NBA obviously is waiting to see where this goes. Terry Rozier has been under investigation for the last 2 years, Ernie. And the NBA did not find enough in their investigation to discipline Terry Rozier. But again, the FBI...
It's because they're in on it. It's because they're in on it. 100%.
FBI, Cash Patel, they have a lot more at their disposal than the NBA does. They have subpoena power. They're able to take more material, more warrant ability that the NBA just is not able to do. So Terry Rozier, his NBA career is on hold now. Chauncey Billups' coaching career is on hold. Tiago Splitter has been named the interim head coach in Portland, and he will be the head coach there in Portland for the foreseeable future now.
You know, Shams, clearly the NBA dropped the ball. Now, you can make all the excuses saying they didn't have all the information that the FBI had, but Adam Silver can pick up the phone and call the FBI and say, hey, do y'all really have something? Because they've been, 2 years is a long time to investigate somebody, and he was cleared. So the NBA dropped the ball. Bottom line, yes or no?
Well, Chuck, I'm told the NBA got access to Terry Rozier's phone. He had to forfeit his phone. That's the same thing Malik Beasley, from my understanding, has had to do with the NBA and with federal investigators. So Malik Beasley's player for the Pistons last year. He's a free agent now. He's undergoing an ongoing investigation with both the NBA and the federal systems, and he's had to forfeit his phone. But he was not part of this round of.
Yeah, they dropped the ball. They cleared him. Just say they dropped the ball. Like, why can't anybody answer friggin' questions anymore?
Arrests. Terry Rozier also did the same thing. He gave up his phone in 2023. But, yeah, the NBA didn't find enough evidence there. But the FBI is under no jurisdiction to have to share their information with the NBA. Clearly, the way this was done by Cash Patel and federal investigators, that started in the Eastern District of New York, this was done in a silo. This was done closed mouth between all those sides, and I don't know how much they were able to share or even shared with the NBA.
Shams Charania, thank you so much for taking the time, and we'll see you on Inside the NBA later tonight with any updates.
Now, this begs the question, is this also happening in the NFL, the NHL? Is it happening in the WNBA? Are people throwing points because people are betting peanuts? People are betting whether or not somebody's going to throw a green dildo out on the floor. So, but it's Donald Trump's fault, according to Stephen Smith. It has to be Donald Trump's fault. Because it can't possibly be the fault of the people who willingly broke the law. I mean, the notion of accountability to the left side of the aisle is it's like they're kryptonite. They just break down and they're accountability. It's not my fault. It's Donald Trump's fault. It's the MAGA Republicans' fault. It's it's stupid. It's not true. This can't be true. Well, obviously, this really appears to be true. And it appears that a lot of people are in a lot of trouble. Now, I'm interested to see who the 30 people are. I know they mentioned, the FBI mentioned all five mafia families. Were they all involved? I don't know. I know that the families do work with each other, even though they're members of separate families. They do work with each other, and they share schemes sometimes, not all the times. A lot of times they keep their schemes to themselves. But obviously they were making millions of dollars off of this operation to protect them. And the FBI knows the ins and outs of the entire operation, including the devices that they use to scheme people and like all the machines that they use. So that you would have to be on the inside of that. So somebody got in on this and they're sharing it with the FBI. Whether it's a confidential informant or undercover operative, time will tell and we will find out. But just a shame that you would work so hard all through your childhood playing this game, becoming experts at the game through high school, college, and then make the NBA, which is nearly impossible to do, and then throw it all away on gambling, on throwing games, on intentionally throwing games, or just gambling on the side. And not only the fact, like running it, like it's one thing to run like a gambling operation, like having poker game and blackjack and craps tables and having people over and making a little money, right? That's different, right? It's a gambling charge. But they took it a step further and they intentionally cheated people out of their money. Now that takes a special type of person. That, there's two very different, distinct people. One that says, I know gambling's against the law, but we're going to do it. And we're just going to take our chances. Then there's the person that says, we're not only going to do it, we're going to cheat and make sure that we win, even though casinos win like 70% of the time. Yeah, like that takes a very specific type of person to do that. A very evil person to do that, to rob. You're robbing people. You're scamming them when you're already millionaires, like multi-millionaires. It's just dumb.
I think this just shows the nature of it, that you have NBA players who were taking themselves out of the game, and it was basically throwing the bets. I mean, remember when Pete Rose, when he was playing and he betted and he was disgraced for that, and he was, by the way, I was a big Cincinnati fan growing up, and he was one of my heroes there on the baseball field. But this is the nature of this is human nature. I mean, history has repeated this over and over again, and we have government facilitating this corruption. So why should we be surprised when it happens?
We shouldn't. Those who forget the lessons of history are condemned to relive them. That's George Santayana. I remember that during a gambling congressional hearing back in 1994. And I remember 1995 actually sitting behind a member of organized crime as he testified before the House Judiciary Committee, which passed the U.S. National Gambling Impact Study Commission. I mean, this is going to get worse and worse unless we stop it now.
I don't know what they mean about it's getting worse and worse and worse. It was really bad in the 70s and 80s. I think it's gotten a lot better now. Hey, Michelle. Michelle said we lived in New Mexico and only went out to eat at casinos. Casinos have such good food. You can eat like a king in a casino. I could have cared less about gambling. Yeah, I'm the same way. I do like to play blackjack, though, for sure. But I don't really like to gamble. It's just stupid. You're going to lose. Like, that's the whole point of it. The whole point of gambling is that you'll lose, especially at one of these guys' card games, because you don't stand a chance because they're rigging it, literally rigging it. I'm surprised, and I'm not surprised that it's happening. I'm surprised that they actually caught it and that nobody's on the take and we didn't hear anything. Because a lot of times with these organized crime guys, you got police officers who are on the take. They're taking money on the side. Detectives of organized crime units. The FBI is a little bit harder to bribe, but a lot of times they're getting away with it. You know, Whitey Bulger was, he wasn't in the Italian mafia, but he was his own crime syndicate in Boston, Massachusetts. And he ran an entire criminal organization and he was an FBI informant. So he got away with doing anything he wanted to. And his brother was a state senator. So there was that too. But I mean, these guys are smart and it's their business. So they figure out how they're going to protect their business. Well, if a threat to my business is the police, it's like, well, how do you mitigate that? Well, let's get close to them. Let's talk to them. Let's figure out what we can say and what we can do. What are their hot buttons? You know, do they have a vice? Oh, this guy likes women. Oh, let's hook him up with some of the hookers we run. And let's get on his good side. Or this guy's got a gambling addiction. Well, perfect. We'll fund it. And now he owes us money, and now he owes us, and now we got a guy on the inside. Like, it's all planned. It's all schemed. It's friggin' wild. Just stay away from it. Here is a PBS NewsHour report.
More than 30 people have been arrested across 11 states. In 2 different indictments, the suspects are charged with crimes including money laundering, extortion, robbery, and illegal gambling. U.S. Attorney Joseph Nocella of the Eastern District in New York detailed today how star players like the Miami Heat's Terry Rozier used inside information about players for betting purposes.
These defendants perpetrated a scheme to defraud by betting on inside, non-public information about NBA athletes and teams. The non-public information included when specific players would be sitting out future games, or when they would pull themselves out early for purported injuries or illnesses.
The investigation also accuses several defendants of running rigged poker games where victims were lured into playing with former NBA stars. Joining me now to break this all down is Mike Vorkunov. He covers professional basketball for The Athletic. Mike, thank you so much for being here. Such a sprawling indictment. 2 different indictments, 2 different schemes alleged here. Let's talk about that first one, which is the allegation that players were somehow using inside information to help win bets. Explain the allegation there.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, and probably one of the things that the NBA cares about most is that Terry Rozier, who's been charged in the indictment and arrested today in Orlando, he was accused of telling bettors telling one bettor in particular that he would come out of a 2023 game early with an apparent injury so that the bettor could then use that information to make wagers on unders on his prop bets, and then also forward that information to other bettors so they could make money off of him. So it was essentially manipulating his own performance so that others could win money wagering on him. And it's very much like...
But what was the benefit to him, though? Why do that? You're already making millions of dollars. That's one of the reasons you get paid so much, so you don't throw games. But why would you do that? Why would you risk everything?
What we saw with Jontay Porter a few years ago when he was arrested, charged, and pled guilty to wire fraud and also banned from the NBA. And there's another element here that doesn't involve players directly. Also in the indictment, there is the story of how one person working for the Blazers let one of the other co-defendants know that they would be benching a few of the players since they were tanking, and bets were made on that. And Damon Jones, a former NBA player who served as kind of like an unofficial assistant coach for the Lakers for the past few years, used his insider role to gain knowledge about the injury situation of players and whether they'd be playing or not to tip off bettors. In January 2024, he found out that one of the top Lakers players was hurt and that he either might play limited minutes or have his performance affected. And he sold that information to one of these bettors, another co-defendant in these charges brought Thursday, who then placed a $100,000 bet on the Lakers to lose. Ultimately, the Lakers actually won, and so the bet didn't lead to anything. But that's just what some of these. That's just what some of the people indicted today, how they use their insider information and their roles to help sports gamblers try to make money off the NBA.
The second alleged scheme here is about these rigged poker games where high rollers would be lured into playing with NBA players, thinking they'd be playing a regular poker game, but the games were not on the up and up. Explain that allegation.
That one has more of like a Hollywood bent to it, I would say. The government alleges that there were rigged poker games across the country, from Miami to New York to the Hamptons, that use former players, professional athletes. Again, Damon Jones was one of them. Chauncey Billups, the Hall of Fame basketball player and currently the Blazers head coach, although he was just put on leave by the NBA today, were two of the people who were helping lure, potential future victims into these rigged poker games. And then the rigged poker games were run in cooperation with Italian crime families out of New York. The Fed said that there were 4 Italian crime families that worked with them to put these games on, took a cut of the winnings, offered protection, threatened people who didn't pay. And so that was something that was separate from the sports gambling investigation and the charges out of it. But also, these two investigations had common threads. 3 people were charged in both indictments.
And there were some pretty unusual high-tech techniques that were being deployed allegedly in these poker games.
Yeah, frankly, I didn't know this was possible, but they were using things like X-ray tables where you could see cards, electric poker chips that would help you be able to cheat, and rigged shuffling decks. So they had a number of high-tech things on their side to help them rig these poker games.
We're going to follow this, and we're going to see where this is going to go. We do an hour show every night from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. That's Eastern Standard Time. And usually the news is, there's just news everywhere. But lately, there really hasn't been a lot. This story broke today. There've been a couple of other things that we did cover. We did cover the demolishing of the East Wing last night, and for the ballroom. It's just insane. The White House currently has a space to entertain about 79 people, and we need more than that, right? So the ballroom is something that needs to be done. The American people aren't paying for it. Anyway, the news has been kind of slim, and it happens sometimes. And that can be a good thing. That means there isn't horror, death, and destruction going on in the world. But the NBA thing, this is big news. We're going to see who else is involved in this. We're going to follow this story. We're going to see what else comes out. thank you very much for everybody that supports the show and watches. You can go to ryanfsamuels.com/donate if you'd like to donate to the show. We appreciate it. Hey, Kat, one of these guys was doing it to pay off his gambling debt. Don't remember who. Yeah, that's typically how the mob gets you. You gamble, you get addicted to gambling. You don't have enough money. They say, listen, don't worry about it. You pay me X amount. They call it a VIG, right? So in your points, you pay points, 2 points or whatever. If you borrow $50,000, they charge you interest. It's like an insane amount of interest that you'll basically never be able to pay it off, and they call it juicing you, and then they just juice you forever. But Michelle says every president has made changes, including moving walls. Yeah, but we talked about it last night where Barack Obama put in a basketball court. So the one thing that Donald Trump is doing with this that's different is that what he is doing, he's doing it for the country. Barack Obama put a basketball court in for himself. Major difference there. It's a fundamental difference. The shutdown is still going on. I'm good with that. I like it. I prefer the government be shut down forever. Donald Trump is assuring that our troops are getting paid. So we're going to continue to follow these stories. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And don't forget to go to ryanfsamuels.com/shop. Use promo code Samuels and save 10%. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. And God bless our troops. We will see you tomorrow.
Thanks for tuning in to the Ryan Samuels Show. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.